This meeting in order, let the record show. All council members are present except for Jacobson. We'll begin with the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. And I'm pretty confident looking at everybody here. Welcome. Thank you to our meeting. You're here for things on the agenda. Okay, do we have any additions to the agenda? Oh, where did I put the?
Are you all here either for John or the THC ordinance, I'm assuming? Just want to make sure we're not cutting anybody off for his general public forums.
Where did I put the? I need to find my agenda second. There it is.
Oh, we don't have meeting minutes for the email.
Yeah, I caught that. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Oh.
A second.
Second.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carried. In your packet are the minutes of the regular meeting of September 2, 2025. Are there any additions, corrections, or questions regarding those minutes? Hearing none, those then stand approved as printing. We'll move on to the claims. I think there were some additions, right?
Yes, there were.
Where are you? There you are. You have any questions or comments on the claims?
Very first one, Johnson Auto Body and Glass, $3,042.89 is the insurance claim.
Hmm.
$250 on that.
Is there a motion?
Motion to pay.
Okay, is there?
Just one,
Oh,
sorry, one
sure.
question, is this or TEIP? It's a.
Well, it's usually not in there. That's health insurance for the month or monthly premium.
But it's not in there, because I didn't see it.
No, usually it's like an off date
Okay,
thing, so it just goes through because we pay it. This one has happened to be lining up the dates right. So.
Anything else? We've got a first. Is there a second?
Second.
Kate, second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carried. Do we have anything for notices and communications?
Negative.
Anything under pending there?
Tuesday 9/23 at 6 here for the Northwest Natural Gas Joint Powers Board meeting. Hopefully you can make that, Mary. If not,
What day is that?
Tuesday.
Oh, I should be able to. Yeah.
Okay. And then we have an initial draft of the water wastewater plan, which I will send out in an email tomorrow morning.
All right.
Yeah.
And other things here are on the agenda.
Correct.
Let's move on then down to our department report, and this is one of the big events of the season. That's the police department.
First off, thank you everybody for coming tonight. This is kind of a big deal when we get a new officer started. We like to do a swearing-in ceremony. Jonathan's completed his probation period. Been doing a great job for us, so it's kind of a big deal. I usually give just a tiny little speech before we get started. One of the things when I was researching, I came across a quote from Medal of Honor recipient Dakota Meyer. It says, "Choose your circle like your life depends on it," because of this. So I can't even imagine Jonathan coming here to our department. We have something very unique in Slayton. Prior to him being here, there's 5 of us work here at our department with 96 years of combined experience in law enforcement. We've all worked together a long time, real close, tight. Being a new officer coming into that, I can't even imagine how intimidating that may feel. We've struggled a little bit prior to that to kind of fill that last spot. But a big part of that is the Count 2000. Everybody sees you, knows what you're doing. And community involvement and fitting in is a big thing and difficult. And since the day he took it, Jonathan has been doing a fantastic job just coming into the community, talking to people, getting to know people. I've been telling this week, we have gotten so many compliments since he's here. So on that note, we are extremely proud, extremely excited to welcome him to our circle. So we're going to do that by doing the oath of office. Other thing I do in the military, we do a cleaning ceremony when somebody is promoted or somebody gets started. So before we do the oath of office, we're going to have his parents come on and pin his badge on. He will be an official member of the police. So, Jonathan, I'm going to have you raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Jonathan Ring,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
to support the Constitution of the United States,
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Minnesota,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
that I will bear true allegiance to the faith of the same,
and defend them against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
defend them against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
I willingly accept the responsibility
I willingly accept the responsibility
and will fulfill the duties of a peace officer
and will fulfill the responsibilities of a peace officer
with compassion,
with compassion,
respect,
respect,
and integrity,
and integrity,
without discrimination or favor to any.
discrimination, or favor to any.
So help me God.
So help me God. All right. Thank you, Chiefs.
Again, thank you all for coming here and showing support. Nobody's required to stay and listen to the rest of this if you don't want to. So if we all want to come outside, we're going to do some activities.
Yeah.
Thanks for the support, everybody.
Yeah, this is awesome.
All right, Dan, you got a tough act to follow there.
Mhm. Yeah, on to unfinished business. We have Dan here to talk to us about the Small Cities Development Program.
I'm Dan Kapowski, project manager at DSI. I'm here to provide an update on the interest statements that we sent out to apply for another small cities development grant. We sent out a total of 693 owner occupied and 90 commercial interest statements. 68 owner occupied interest statements were returned, 48 of which appear to be eligible. On the commercial end, we only received 3 interest statements back, which doesn't provide a lot of competitiveness in the application. So we're recommending to just go with the owner occupied, which would be roughly 21 units, depending on just this, at a maximum funding of $600,000. So let us go forward with the preliminary application. So our Jesse will do is put it in for 21 units at $599,886. The next step would be to or ask you to pledge $2,000 of your local funds to make some other grants to with the match. Total of $619,886. Any questions regarding that portion? So in your packet, you will see a conflict of interest form that each of you would fill out. If there is a conflict, such as if you were interested in partaking in a program for a family member, you would pause that conflict and abstain from the vote. So if you would like to move forward, we have those 5 action items that would need to be approved. applicant, just like I talked about the citizen participation plan, whether it be 2 public hearings, one tentatively in February, um, contingent on these timelines, for those applications. Like the first hearing, we would go over overall cost, most financing, and competitiveness of the preliminary app. And if it is approved and funded, the second one would be during implementation, provide everyone with an update on. Then our next action item would be to commitment of the local match, to authorize Myron to sign the preliminary application once it's completed, and authorize a public hearing for the grant application around February. So, something to job for the meeting, the last grant that we're just finishing up now went well. We ran into a couple hiccups that we usually do, whether we have some owners back out or, historical society kind of blocked us on one over at KBL. We wanted to do windows there and they wanted to restore them back to original, which cost wise isn't real feasible. And the one that she's done, I think look amazing. And I think she wants to keep going with that. So we weren't able to move forward with that one, but we were able to get another applicant from spend. So overall, it went really well. Do you have any other questions regarding anything that I went over? Otherwise, we just need approval for those.
That can be a blanket motion.
Okay,
for those.
Great to see all the interest again.
yeah.
Really great.
Well, it seems like once we start,
Mm-hmm.
especially in a community that we're new to working in,
Mm-hmm.
part of the partnership didn't work. But people didn't know who we were, like as far as interest statements we send out, go there. But when people start talking towards the end of it, it picks up, and then next thing you know, we have a waiting list,
Mm-hmm.
and the next go around is much easier.
How many of the 48 that are eligible would we be able to fund? Do you know that number?
Roughly 21, depending on purposes. Owner occupied max is 2,000.
Mhm.
Sometimes people just want some HVAC done, and they spend 12,000, and
Mm-hmm.
many times they go to the next. It just kind of depends.
I would move to approve the steps here, the action items that are outlined in the agenda group.
Is there a second?
So, just, so I'm a plumbing contractor. I didn't do anything with any of the last ones. Am I supposed to abstain from everything the last time? Potentially, or do I just wait and see, or what do I?
If you're interested in working on it, I recommend you abstain. So when I'm managing the projects, I don't send it out on their behalf unless they ask me to. If they ask me to send it to you, or if they call me directly for a bid, then that would be the point.
I believe you abstained last time.
I did.
so we still abstain.
I had abstained at that time too, as an applicant. I would assume it'd be the same this time.
I'm assuming so. I know income guidelines change
Mm-hmm.
each time, so they don't usually process the applications.
I'm not sure, not where I land there. So.
So and like I said, they change every year, so they usually go up by a few $1,000 each year. But yeah, anything like that, I would abstain. Unless everybody has conflict, then we might actually.
Yeah, that's a
Right, that's.
I don't think so. All right, was there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Note of the abstentions?
You
Oh,
as well?
yeah. Two of us. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Now we just wait for the stuff to start happening, I guess.
Yes, yes, put it in the preliminary application and she will send it over for your signature. And then, usually sometime in late spring, we'll hear whether it's completed. Usually they are. There's a lot of administrators doing the program now,
Mhm.
all the additional students to go through. Since I'm served there, I haven't done anything. Okay. Thank you.
Appreciate you coming.
Take care.
All right, we'll move on to the next item is the review of the cannabis ordinance.
Can we go through the changes before you open the public hearing, or?
Yeah.
Okay, there's some things to button up. If we go to page 7, council had asked me to include a definition of temporary cannabis event, so just pulled that right from state statute. That one was pretty cut and dry. On next page, page 8, 5, A, B, and C. I think that I transposed it correctly based on discussion at our last meeting. We wanted to try to mirror as much with liquor as possible. This is not to the fullest extent that we're able to regulate. We could batten it down a little bit, but I think this portrays accurately what the council's intent was based on our last discussion.
The only question I have was Sunday. I thought, is Sunday look different?
Yeah, Sunday liquor's 11 to 6.
I guess I was thinking we were going along with that.
Yeah.
That was my understanding.
On just on Sunday.
Just Sunday, yeah. It's gonna exactly mirror the liquor.
I don't think we can go 11. Jenna, do you happen to get
Pulling it
10?
up right now.
It's 10.
It's 10 to 9.
Mhm.
I don't know that you can ban sales on Sundays. So let me keep talking.
Okay. Well,
We're gonna ban.
we're gonna
no.
restrict the hours.
Restrict hours to mirror the same as.
Sort of approved says registered cannabis retail businesses are only allowed in the hours of 10 a.m. and 9 p.m. 7 days. That would be the maximum provision.
You can't go 11.
That's the restriction.
10 to 9.
That's the 9.
That's only 1 hour difference.
Is your point of knocking that hour off to leave more confusion?
Probably. Just leave it alone.
That's kind of my opinion on that. What do you guys think? So then, as it is.
9?
Yeah.
Okay. 7 days a week. Okay. Over on the page, the very bottom of page 8, the lower potency hemp edibles. So what I had in here in your packet is that they were exempt from the buffer zone described above in 15206D7A. However, that may be a little bit too non-restrictive, too free. The issue that we were trying to address here is that Jeremy pointed out that there are 4 businesses that are registered and lawfully operating as lower potency hemp edibles right now in the city of Slayton, and that we didn't want them to move, whatever. So had alternative language that deletes that C, that is just a blanket exemption. And I added it to page 9 under the lower potency hemp edibles and added the C, all currently operating and lawfully established lower potency hemp retailers at the time that this ordinance takes effect may continue to operate as a lawful non-conforming use if located within a buffer zone. The reference 15206D7A. Willing to hear edits there. I think that get the intent of what I was trying to do there, but so that any new applicant would just satisfy the per zone requirements if they were a lower potency.
Soon, current ones that we have may violate the distance of the zone.
They do. I think they're pretty close. Most of them are along Highway 30. Some of them are along Highway 30, and I think that Trinity. That would be. So then, page 11 was the main one that we wanted to discuss. This is 3G3B. If Murray County has one active cannabis retail business registration for every 12,500 residents, the city shall let license and issue cannabis retail businesses. So I have this highlighted in here, the draft that you have. It says shall not still, but the options are basically may, shall, not. So I split. See. I think that Myron was gone for that meeting. I think 2 were may and 2 were shall and 2 were shall not. So I don't think anybody, if I remember correctly, was really wanted to go to may because it was a little bit witchy. Comments?
My rationale behind that, I was a not,
Mhm.
and that would be, it would be something that you could potentially change or get a variance or do
Mhm.
something different. It'd be very, very difficult to say you could if we don't exactly know what this is going to entail or whatever. And if something outside of the city limits happened first, that didn't be guinea pig and
Right.
see what would happen. And if it was something that we thought we were okay with, then we could at some point in time change it or basically allow variance to it or just leave it stated as not. That was my rationale behind it. I still feel comfortable stating it that way. No, not.
Shall not.
Shall not.
Just shall.
Yes.
So leave it at 1 in the county period.
Leave it at 1 in the county. If someone else other than Slayton gets one first, we'd have the opportunity to see what that looks like, and we could always change it to allow it after that. But if we start out saying that we can, then it'd be really, really difficult to walk that.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on the fence about it a little bit. Putting may in there leaves it open to, without probably being, you would have the discretion, and it would allow the discretion, where shall and shall not are very clear. You don't have any discretion to say shall. I don't think if they follow all of it, right? If you say shall not, obviously that's clear too. So
And
I really were here, but
and rationales for may and may not can end up being gracious and irrational.
I mean they can be, but
No, I mean not that, but assertions of
sure
that.
it could be right.
I kind of like the shall not, and my rationale is that it's definitive, and it can act. It's not the right term, but act, as you could say, as a permanent moratorium until we change our mind. If we change our mind.
Yeah, that would be true.
Exact train of thought that I guess.
If we see it's a dumpster fire, then we're in good shape. If we think, man, this is the best thing since wheels on cars,
Let's rethink it.
Christine?
I still don't think we should, shut them down just because there's one in the county. Competition's good for everybody.
That's true.
That's kind of where I was at, I guess. I mean, if one lands in another community or whatever, it's, I guess I'm just trying to think of the scenario where somebody would, where whether it's this council or another council, I mean, you get to be pretty one-sided depending on how you feel about the product.
Right.
You know, you know, yes, you could, someone came forth and had all their stuff in order or whatever, you could say, yeah, yes. And at the same time, by limiting it, and we can still limit it to one, it'd just be, if it's something that becomes a viable business in town, I just don't know what my feelings are about shutting it out.
I have to believe though, too, there's probably ample market in the county. Oh, for sure, or more than one.
Jenna, do you have any comment on that? Jenna, by the way, works for Health and Human Services, so I'm dragging you into.
So do you want me to?
Yeah.
Thoughts, please.
Yeah. I'm Jenna Stevenson. I work with public health. Little background, in a former life, I was a high school chemistry teacher. Since then, I've become the drug-free communities coordinator in Pipestone. I did that for a year with Southwest. I was a cannabis substance use prevention coordinator with Southwest as well, and now I've been moved to Marshall, where I am a community public health supervisor. So this is really my wheelhouse. I've helped most of our 6 counties write their county ordinances. So this is something I'm very comfortable talking about, and if I don't know the answer, I'm very open to getting back to you. But I talked with Josh this afternoon, and I just went over a couple of things that I noticed were missing from an ordinance that could be most restrictive if you're interested in keeping the youth of Slayton happy, healthy, safe, which I think we can all agree everyone wants that. I don't live in Slayton, but I send 2 children to school here. So I also have a vested interest in keeping Slayton as healthy as possible. So just to dive right in, I've got hours of operation, which you guys have already hashed through. Most restrictive would be 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. But anything that I say you're free to take or leave, I'm just presenting information for you to have. You can look at having no self checkouts allowed at your cannabis retail business if you choose to allow one within Slayton. You can decide if you want to allow self-service displays. You'll want to keep those behind the counter. State statute says that only edibles need to be behind the counter, not beverages. So that's something you'll want to keep track of. If you have little kids going into a gas station right now, cannabis beverages can be seen. If you want to keep that away from them so that they delay their age of first use, something you can write into ordinance. You can have required signage at this retail establishment. You display their license, the health warning signage, minimum age of 21. One thing that I would really push for is to, in addition to not allowing for a home operation, don't allow for a movable place of business. You don't really need a cannabis van driving around.
So when you and I talked this afternoon, I had failed to remember where you address. We have in here that they have to be hooked up to city water and sewer.
So that there you go. So that's taken care of. Yeah, you don't need a cannabis van. You have a sign ordinance in the city of Slayton as well. You can fall back on that with their advertisement restrictions. In statute, they're allowed 2 fixed signs on the outside of their building. But then again, you can fall back on your sign ordinance to further enact that if you need to. And then the big one is to not allow coupons, samples, or discounts. Then if you decide to allow this, you don't need it to be easy for kids to get at it. The people who want cannabis and are illegal to purchase this, they can buy it. But you don't need to make it easier for kids to get exposed to this. And they're already exposed to it. So as a city, I just want you to take a look at how can we put these safeguards in place for our youth. Because the public, if John Q. Public wants to have cannabis, they will comply with this. That's not a question. With regards to the competition factor, you're very right. If you have someone that sets up business outside of Slayton, you won't have competition if you limit it to one. But if you don't have one in Slayton, you won't have one near the schools, and you won't have one near all of the youth, pretty much all of Murray County. Those are the things that I had highlighted.
From your experience in other communities in this specific question that we were mulling over in terms of if there's one already licensed outside of the city limits of the city of Slayton, this question of does it automatically get approved, it may get approved, or it automatically will not get approved. What have you?
Depends on what your city, what your constituents are interested in. We've had a city that said that they will continue to allow, but I've had cities that are limiting with the county. That's more of the general trend that I'm seeing, is that if the county caps us at 1 per 12,500 people, then that we're just gonna depends on the city.
So with regard to this question that we're specifically looking at, this the city shall, may, shall not. Option three options as far as allowing another one in Slayton. I mean, what are you seeing similar things? Are you working with just counties, or are you working with some cities and counties?
This is my first step into the city realm. Formerly, we're short-staffed at public health right now, so this has just been a whirlwind adventure. With regards to, I was in the classroom for 6 years, and I can tell you that cannabis is already a thing. And if you can put any safeguard in place to limit youth to that, there are some that are going to get it no matter what type of restriction you put in place. But there are some kids that will never do it, but then there's those kids in the middle. And if we can sway some of those kids in the middle to not try cannabis for the first time when they're 16, we can wait till they're 21. Then that's gonna solve some problems with addiction. Their brains will be more fully developed. They're just going to be healthier in general. I don't think you can make a very decent decision at 16. It's just not, your brain isn't capable of it. So if we can help children make better decisions with their own health, I think that's good.
What are your thoughts on, is it better just to have it quote unquote further away? Or is it better to have it, I mean, we have the sheriff's department here, we have our own police force here, that are very active in the community and in the schools.
Yep.
So is it better to pull your enemies closer, or is it better to push them away?
In my personal opinion, through public health, I would say push them away. We've already legalized it in this state, so many children are thinking, well, it's legal, so it's safe. They think the same thing about alcohol, and we have problems with alcohol as well. Cannabis is just a new toy at this point. If you can limit it, I'm not saying you need to cut out all business opportunities, because that's not legal either. But if you can limit it, if you can hop on the bandwagon and say one in the county and then we're done, I think you're going to eliminate a lot of problems that could come down the road. And then if I'm wrong, later you can amend it and say may or shall. But I think if you tie it up right now, if you're really restrictive right now, like Blake had mentioned, I think your lives will be easier in the long run. Just see how things play out. And chances are in Murray County, where would a cannabis shop pick? Maybe probably Slayton. So I mean, it might not make a huge difference.
I guess we're fortunate in the sense that, the statute says you have to allow every 12,500 residents, and that's encompasses all of Murray County,
yes,
so we
yes.
don't even have an option that
Yep.
we're a bit over that we have to,
Yep.
so.
Lyon County is just over 25,000, so they have to allow 3. They're like
Sure.
some 100 number over, yes. So they were allowing that. Marshall has a separate ordinance. Yep. Same thing with Rock County. Laverne's got a separate ordinance. The county elected to limit it to the most restrictive. But with Laverne being right by South Dakota, Iowa, where cannabis is not legal, they're anticipating a pretty high trend rate.
Worthington didn't limit it at all. I think there can be,
Anything?
yep. Pipestone, that shall not is how Pipestone is drafted. I don't recall what Murray County has.
Murray County.
And that's it. So if Slayton has one,
Then that sounds pretty good.
and they're automatically a no
What do you mean?
for an additional.
For an additional service.
Yeah, and is that how most of the counties in Health and Human Services jurisdiction are?
Thank you. I still stand
Yeah.
behind my position. And yes, helps.
Mhm.
I really like the notion of, having to try and walk something back and being on the upper hand. And if, like you said, if you're wrong and it's a
So
great,
the other
it
way.
is. I like that notion. I really.
You know, I'm leaning towards the shall not here too, I guess. I just, there, again, like she said, and like we all know, just like with any other substance, if people, kids, whoever it is wants to get it, they'll find a way to get it, whether it's legal, illegal, in Murray County, in Minneapolis, or Rockland County, or wherever it might be, people will get what they, get what they want to get. So you can,
Yeah, you could make it a little more difficult, at least for some. Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. As much as I hate to feel like we're limiting free market, I get what your feelings are on that too, Dean. And competition, but it's not something that I'm pining to have a real cheap amount of one myself.
Murray County Superstore.
I guess I'm fine with the shall not. My only observation is that if we get a current established business owner in town that wants one up, are we gonna turn around and change this in 3 months?
Mhm.
If they
If
have
they're
all
not the
if
first.
they're not the first and they have all their stuff in order, whatever, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at.
I think that gets back to the question of the dumpster fire that Myron brought up earlier.
Right.
If we, that is,
Right,
I
but
don't
I
think we
mean,
can
is
answer
that,
that right
is
now.
that really where we wanna be is the judge?
that is exactly the question that is to be answered tonight.
Right.
I think that's kind of our job in a sense. That's what we're here for.
I do not have a feeling either way, honestly.
Yeah. To me, it's either shall or shall not. I have
it's
no
not,
way.
there's no may.
But
I agree.
I'm really having a hard time to decide shall or shall not personally. Because there's
Points to both
definitely
sides.
points here.
Yeah, for both ends.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get there then. I'm good with the shall not for now.
And I'm kind of feeling the default of the shall not personally is, kind of like the take the deny and appeal later
Right.
approach, I guess.
And if it happens, it happens.
Right.
Florida.
Sure, I'll go with that.
So I just had
As
that.
long as it's still changeable, if we find something out, though.
I just had gave the spiel in an earlier meeting how awesome it is to work with council that can have these difficult decisions, but when we make our decision, we're on board.
Yep.
So,
You know, I don't think anybody's mad at each other.
right, okay, so it's probably gonna be shall not then.
So that is how it's currently
Right.
drafted in there. One thing that I forgot to mention, if we go back to page 8, 7B, you would add that closest lot.
Oh, yeah,
I didn't hit on that in the summary there, so if we fast forward back, then that, I believe, is the entirety of kind of the change edits that were, to be discussed tonight.
okay. We're feeling okay with that. I'll open the public hearing. That sound right? Okay. Open the public hearing at 1841
We'll
to,
consider Jenna's comments as part
yes,
of.
Okay.
Now we'll have ourselves.
right,
That was my fault.
for the discussion of proposed language that was detailed earlier on ordinance 347, cannabis hemp business regulation.
47?
346.
340, did I say 7?
You did.
I'm sorry, 346.
Thank you.
No written comment, no email comment, just.
Okay.
Nobody stopped in.
No. Well, with no comments here, I'll close the hearing at 1842. Is there a motion to approve ordinance 346 as discussed?
So moved.
Second? Any further discussion? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no, motion carried. We have ourselves an ordinance.
Yes, unless otherwise specified, the ordinance is effective as soon as it's published. And so that is this draft. ASAP.
So it gets published. As far as, you know.
Yeah, there's a summary. I won't publish all 15 pages. Sorry, Justine. But there'll be a summary ordinance, and as soon as that, I have that updated.
Are we finished with that then?
Yes,
Then
sir.
we'll move on to the 2026 preliminary levy.
As discussed, thank you, Jackie.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your input.
Have a good night.
As discussed at the workshop last Thursday, it's currently at 4.96%. Just to recap the changes, we moved the PD shingles from the general fund to the capital improvement fund for 16,000. We moved 20,000 in estimated legal professional fees for Northwest Gas transaction to capital improvement fund with the correct logic, in my opinion, that that'll more than likely be reimbursed by the proceeds of the bond in 2026. So no reason to have it affect the levy. And the cut in zoning and the addition of paid family leave for full or and so that made the levy $1,566,333, $4.6% increase in 2020. The motion in front of the council tonight would be setting that preliminary levy amount. As a reminder, it cannot be increased after it is set as a preliminary increase. It can stay the same or decrease prior to the end of the year.
I will make a motion for that effect.
Your second?
Sure.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no, motion carried. With no further businesses or motion to adjourn.
So
The first and the second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned 1845.